Hi, it is June 21st, 2016. This is the Watchman News. I'm Mike Callahan. We have another episode of No Holds Barred tonight with Kathy Rubio. Her guest will be Jerry Test. I'm going to go ahead and get Kathy called in real quick. Well, I'm thinking. Hang on a minute.
Hello.
There you are.
Yeah, last minute time. Last minute time to run there.
Okay.
Yes, I am on. And
how have you been?
Everybody's weekend. Everybody doing? I got to get over to the chat room. I haven't even done that. This 2 days has been so busy.
Oh, I hear you. We've been a little hectic around here as well.
Let me get over here. You can go ahead and bring Jerry on.
Alrighty.
Hello.
Hey, Jerry. How are you?
I'm good. How are you, Kathy?
I don't know. I'm a bit frazzled today. It's one of those days.
Actually, today is not one of those for me, but I've had plenty of them. How are you doing other than that?
I'm doing good. Healing up good. And been having a lot of good conversations and been missing hours.
Oh, rightio. Well, there you go. How about that? Yeah, so, look, I saw you had old Dam on recently.
Who?
Old Van Dam, is that right? Is that?
Oh, yes, I sure did. Ole, yes.
He's amazing. Yes,
he is. Yep.
Yeah. Well done. Good guess.
Yeah, I think we got a lot of good ones coming up here. Good researchers that have done a lot of good work, and that's how I'm going to introduce you as a good researcher. And I used to be radio broadcaster. Are you still?
No. I had some fallouts with some of the people that had a station, and you know about that.
Yeah, same station.
Yeah. Well, I've got my own little battle page that I do, and I don't promote it. I just people come to it. I'm in the trenches. I'm in the dirty hole. Like there's, it's just come out that the people go to the internet more than they go to corporate media.
Absolutely.
And so anyway, this was published. It was in Zero Hedge, Investment Watch blog, a few others. So I was on Zero Hedge, and one of them was Facebook was the second place they went, and of course these people at Zero Hedge, they're sort of snotty, People go to Facebook. I had to jump in and say, guys, I'm in the trenches. I run a news site on Facebook. And I said, I refer to you guys, Investment Watch, what really happened all the time. And I said, so I'm actually in the trenches fighting, trying to sway people over, while you here are sitting in the high and mighty pretending you know everything.
And they're getting it from us.
Well, anyway.
But, okay, so what is your page? So everybody can go to your page on Facebook if they want to.
The Hard Truth, and it's public. Anyone can read it. But I only let a certain people post in it.
Yeah, well, it's a good page. I get your stuff all the time.
Do you really?
I do.
Oh, okay. Well, I run it. I run it with an iron fist. Very Stalinistic. Someone does something wrong, they get one chance before the blade falls.
Jerry, this is Mike Callahan, my co-host.
Well, I do. Otherwise, you get troll infested.
That's it.
You got to draw a line somewhere, and I figure I'm as if I'm going to be a Western Nazi, I might as well be a Western Nazi with my news page.
Yeah, the Western Nazi from Australia.
Actually, I'm from Florida. I just live.
Oh, are you?
Yeah.
How long you been in Australia?
23 years or so.
Yeah, you're not here no more.
But oddly
and you
enough,
made a good move too.
well, let me tell you something. My boy is 18. Just flew back from 2 years in the States. He played a competitive school ball there, went to state finals and stuff like that, So I still got a lot of ties back in America, So and being born American, it's my country of birth. There are a bunch of Nazis here, man. This place is like England, except for nicer weather. Well, it is.
Well, you got to get some benefit, Jerry.
Well, it's nicer weather. Okay,
Yeah.
It's England, but it's nicer weather.
Oh, Lord. So what have you been researching lately that's tripping your trigger?
Did you you're familiar with G. Edward Griffith, the creature from Jekyll Island?
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you see his post the other day on the media about the guy that turned himself into Santa Monica just after the Orlando shooting?
Turned himself in?
All right. There was another individual besides this Omar Martin that were trained in Virginia for these false flag shootings. He's from Indiana. So, anyway, during the Orlando shooting, this guy from Indiana was activated.
Yeah?
And he had to drive from Indiana to California. Well, that's a 48-hour drive. So he shows up to California. His job is he's supposed to hit the Gay Day Parade.
Right.
All right. And he's supposed to escape. Well, when he gets there, his contact is gone. Calls his contact. Phone not working. He meets someone else. And then he hears about this Orlando shooting in Omar. And he says, and he thinks to himself, I'm the guy that's supposed to die. He goes into the Santa Monica Police Department. He turns himself in. He said, the CIA is going to kill me. I am supposed to do an attack on the Gay Day Parade. And lo and behold, before the detectives get to question him, the FBI comes over and snatches the investigation. And this is being reported by G. Edward Griffith. It came out on a couple other pages, but because Griffith posted it, it grabbed a lot of traction.
And was that guy gay as well? Because that was a gay parade.
No. Look, here we go. Ready? The gays, the guns, and the Muslims. Have you sort of noticed that that's what they're using to try to hit all of the talking points?
Yeah.
gays, guns, and Muslims. You know, how convenient. So
yeah, they're just busy turning everybody against everybody now.
Yep.
Yeah, that was a really big one. All right, and it just evaporated into the black hole.
Oh no, it didn't. I've been researching on that whenever I had a chance today, because I got a lead and I have to find a way to prove it before I blast it over the air.
What are you trying to prove?
Well, there was a visit that was made to the shooter in Florida the day before the shooting, and that visit was made by Obama. Now I need to find the connection between Obama and Mateen, and I know there is one. I went through all the Facebook pages. I went through Google and everywhere that you could possibly find any pictures, family pictures, any pictures of this guy with his family at all, ever. There's nothing.
Look, they'll sacrifice their own.
That's
all
right.
So Omar's daddy ran for the presidency of Afghanistan at one point, didn't you?
He still is running. He just made his little visit, and yeah, he made his visit to Obama. He was at the White House not long before this happened. Go ahead.
Yeah, so that's the connection. They'll sacrifice their own children over these things, you know.
Yeah.
And he was a good one because he was a closet gay.
Yeah, I know, but what I'm looking for is not just a general connection. So I have to find it, and I can only do that through photos of his family. And I can't find any.
Those will be scrubbed.
Yeah.
Those will be scrubbed. Don't you worry. That'll be a 404 on anyone, unless someone has a copy and sends it to you. I can tell you that's already been vanquished.
I know. I got to the MySpace thinking it might be there, and that was scrubbed.
Look, I posted up Guccifer put up the addresses of everyone in the Council of Foreign Relations, and I grabbed it and I posted it on my page, and within 30 minutes it was scrubbed, and I was caught in the middle of doing something, so I didn't get to save it to my computer, which was really crummy because he had all the addresses from the Council of Foreign Relations. I have phone numbers, emails, mailing address. Imagine how handy that would be.
And so they took it off his YouTube and everything then?
Oh man, I had it on my little Facebook page, you know. Said, here you go, guys. Make sure you send some love out, you know. Guccifer 2 just put up Clinton Foundation docs.
Jeez.
Today, I'm telling you, if you want it, I'll give it to you.
Yeah, please send it over here to the Watchman, and it'll come right out. Just put it in the window we're in for Skype.
Yeah, hang on a second. I'll pull it right up.
Mike, you started to say something. What were you gonna inject?
Oh, heck, I forget now. I was just...
Hey, Mike, I'm Jerry. Nice to meet you, Mike.
Nice to meet you. I'm Mike. I think it was something to do with him commenting about it being guns, gays, and Muslims. And I was just going to comment about the division as well that they're making.
Yeah, they're dividing everybody every which way they can. I even just got a video a little while ago from black people, 3 black men, and it was entitled "Jesus, It Was Never Black." And then they show a picture of Jesus white, and they burn it. And they're showing their division in the Christianity and in black and white.
Look, hey man, if people got problems with color, then Jesus, they're gonna be dumber than dirt. You know, you gotta.
there's a reason they're dumbing people down, is because it's easy to make ignorant people hate.
Yeah.
You know? Look, I had a really unique thing happen. Right after this Orlando shooting, you know, clearly there are the Hillary's $1 million paid for troll armies cruising online, and so the big conversation come up, gun control, you know, and I found the perfect retort for it, and it was so good that they crashed my computer over this. Well,
welcome to my world, Jerry.
Yeah. Well, I got 6 backups. You know, screw it. I've actually taken my I've got a floating IP address. You know, go to one page, it shows I'm in Scotland, another page someplace else. You know,
I got the same thing.
Yeah. So anyway, it went into this whole gun, you know. And I start off, and I just go, look, every genocide in the 20th century can be directly related to gun control. So unless you've got a better statement than that, you tell me where one gun control has worked positively. And anyway, you know, it went on for a bit, and I'm able to put up some facts, and
I just opened up a video just before we started, and the video was about Venezuela. And you know what happened in Venezuela? The guys, they were under gun control. All their guns were taken some time ago. And so now they're hungry, and so they are targeting the police, killing the police off, and taking their guns.
Yeah.
Where is
Well,
this?
you have to.
Where are they doing
Well, you
this?
have to.
Venezuela.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, they have to eat. They have no
They're
food.
starving. That's the whole plan. That's going to come to America. Don't you? That's going to come to America. And
Yes, it is.
America's hamstrung over this because back in the Great Depression of the 1930s, people had local farms. So there was food growing, chickens, eggs, stuff like that. The Americans, the population is hamstrung on the corporation feeding. All right? You know, a lot of people think, oh, I could survive. But they think surviving, you know, is going to the local grocery store. There's only 3 days worth of food there. You know, once that's gone, the supply chain, people are going to be eating each other in 2.5 3
That's about right. They will. And that's the way it was in Honduras. They would kill a person for 2 limps. You know how much 2 limps was at that time this was going on? It was like 50 cents.
Look, man, it's amazing when starvation comes into play. It's what people put on value is completely different. Look, I got a 50-pound bag of rice in the house. So I mean, I'm not even a rice fan, but you know, let's put it this way: if worse comes to worse,
That's right.
I can feed myself.
Yep. If you have your staples, if you have your flour, your oil, and water, you got to have water and salt. You can cook a lot of things.
The barter's very important.
Yes, it is.
Okay?
Yeah.
Like we have saltwater swimming pools here, as opposed to fresh water. So I can get a 50-pound bag of rock salt for like $7. Well, I've got one of those, so I got 50 pounds of rice. You know, that's an instant trading item right there.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
That's a big one. Okay, that's a big one. Knives, quality knives. If you go on eBay or into any secondhand shop or whatever, good quality knives are going to be of immense value. I can
See,
assure you that.
Jerry, what does your son think about what's going on here?
Well, you got to understand, he was in high school. He was sort of he was a good-looking Australian kid that made it to the state finals 2 years in a row playing competitive basketball. So he had it pretty easy. The girls pretty much threw themselves at him. He had a decent car. We had a few little chats. And just said, I had a few little chats to him, but I didn't talk to him too much about it because he's high school. He's very, very smart boy. Don't get me wrong. As a young man, actually, they sent him out there when he was 16. He came back 18, so he was living, even though he was with family member. He had no mother. He had no father. He had to defeat the homesickness without, anyone being there, except for like a great aunt or a great uncle, so he grew up. So, he has a history of doing wise thinking and wise decision, but the media, from what he saw, he didn't look at it like you and I did. You turn on Good Morning America and it's all fluff and dice, and the older people, if they're right-wing conservatives, they turn on Fox News. So there you got all of these fake hot lawyers with big boobs and short skirts. So look at me, so.
Well,
yeah.
I know that we have the Common Core is very, very, very strong in every school right now. So did he experience any of that?
He actually went to a private school. His game was so good that they waived the fees.
Okay, that's good.
Well, let's see. An international student came in. He was honor roll every semester for 2 years. So he wasn't just an athlete; he was honor roll, and his game was that good that they waived the fees totally. They were happy to have him. They had never been so far in the state high school game. Well, he showed up.
That's
So it said a lot.
Yeah.
He just came home 2 days ago.
Here's a new subject. Did you see the letter that George Soros wrote today?
Is that the one about the Brexit, England?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Hey, look. Here's what. Well, I didn't see it.
Well, let me read it. I'm going to read it. Okay.
Okay.
In a new op-ed column of The Guardian, legendary investor George Soros wrote the following. Too many believe that a British vote to leave the EU will have no effect on their personal financial position. This is wishful thinking. A vote to leave could see the weekend with a Black Friday and serious consequences for ordinary people. George goes on to say that a possible Brexit would wreak havoc on global markets, causing a new Black Friday crash and sending the British pound anywhere from 15 to 20% down. And Soros knows a thing or two about such events because the last time the British pound crashed in 1992, he racked up $1 billion profit. shorting it. So with an event this big happening in just 2 days from now, we asked J.R. Crooks to tell you what to do in this critical update. J.R. has already been using his quantum compounder system to show a small group of our readers how to go for profits like a fast 88% close gain on a euro trade that happened in the last 2 weeks. Meanwhile, another open winner on the Aussie dollar is already up more than 30%. And overall, his currency trading strategy has produced a return of 95% since the beginning of this year. Now, as we always say, we don't know what anyone following JR's ideas is actually making because of fees, commissions, and other factors. But there was definitely the opportunity to make serious money from some of these ideas. And it just goes on to tell you more of the repercussions that will come Friday morning that in Europe if this happens and the Brexit takes effect. And so he's saying it's going to be serious repercussions, and the global markets, investment banking, is going to, and trading floors are ordering their top personnel to work through the night on June 23rd as authorities tally the results from UK voters. Experts from Lothar Menthal from Tatton Investment Management in Sweden have already scheduled an emergency meeting to respond to the potential fallout, and other European countries are sure to follow suit. And perhaps the most shocking statement has come from Donald Tusk, the President of the European Union. In a recent interview, he said, "I fear that Brexit could be the beginning of the end, and not only of the EU, but of the entire Western political civilization." When you're talking about this type of impact, the profit potential has to be enormous.
You want to know what my thoughts on that are?
I sure do.
All right. Sweden, Norway, a couple of the other northern countries have said, you have nothing to fear. There is plenty who will trade with you. You know, this is bogus. You will do better, and you can trade with Russia again. All right. You know the Russian ruble is advancing. You know, they tried to kill that economy, and they couldn't do it because they build good weapons. They're selling to the world that they're selling non-GMO food. You know that they're providing energy throughout Europe. Russia is doing all the right things. You know, they're a country to be proud of. You know, so look, this is all. That's fear-mongering. Don't you dare do this. Now, that doesn't mean they're not going to try to steal the election or keep it from happening whatsoever, but that is just all fear. That if the EU falls apart, the European Union is the Soviet Union in Western clothes. You understand that, don't you? I mean, it's being run by Brussels, no elected officials whatsoever. This is feudalism at its finest. It's just dressed up in Western clothes.
Now, explain to us Brexit versus the European
people
Union.
Saying, I don't want no part of the European Union because we don't have elected officials. These are appointed people that we have no say in. And it's
one centralized bank, the top 1% of the 1% of the 1% that run it, and they're absolutely bleeding all the money and natural resources from the country. I think the first year that England was in the EU, their fee was £8.5 billion. All right. The next year, the cost went up 30% to over £11.5 billion to belong in the EU. All right. So look at what's happened with Spain, Portugal, Greece. You remember when Catalonia was trying to separate in Spain?
Uh-huh.
Remember when Greece was trying to leave? And these are some evil. These are the world bankers that are bringing the entire state of Europe into just a feudal system that is run in Brussels, and no one has any say of the rules or who runs it. Okay? Again, it is the Soviet Union in the West.
So
There's
now,
no more Soviet
say
Union.
everybody leaves the European Union. How does that help Greece or those other countries?
Oh, they start printing their own money at
Okay.
interest-free charges that is run at a public utility that is not created with fractional reserve created out of thin air. All right, so all of a sudden they go into a different banking system.
Yep.
Okay, that's the big deal. This is all over the color of ink and the paper it's printed on.
Okay. Well, I wanted to share with you because I'm reading this letter and then it reminds me of one of the things that when this shooting took place in Orlando, I always look for the distraction. Why are they distracting us over and bringing all eyes here? What is going on over there? And so I think it was Sunday night. Yeah. About 1 in the morning or 2, somewhere in there, I got a DEFCON 3, which had turned to a DEFCON 1, which is the highest level of warning.
Yeah.
And so I went to look and see, because what they were saying was that our planes were in the air and the Russian planes were in the air, and they were diffusing something. And that's the only thing they would say. They were being really vague about what was going on. So I stayed up all night trying to figure out, are we at war? What the heck is going on here? And that led me back to Syria. And I found out that the same day as the shooting took place, that next 24 hours, we were in such a battle with Russia in Syria that we were 2 minutes away from World War III. And they didn't want us to find out, so that's what was going on. Those planes were in the air. They were having a little battle over there in Syria about who was going to bomb what. And the U.S. was telling Russia to get out of Syria.
You can see how well that worked. Here,
Yeah.
grab me a bit harder. All right, here's what happened. A pair of Sukhoi 34s were coming in to bomb.
Yeah.
Now you have to remember, all right? Iran, Syria, and Russia are bound by treaty. All right? They are bound. That's as strong as it gets, all right? If you have a treaty, you are you're married. All right? These people are bound by treaty. Syria actually invited Russia to help them. Okay? They are there at the invitation of the Syrian people who have elected their government. All right? So, anyone else who is in there is not invited. So that means they are invading, you know? So this is not, as they say, Russian aggression. This is someone who is trying to take over a democratically elected country because of its natural resources. So Russia is there at the invitation. And so anyway, there was a pair of F-18 Hornets that were dispatched from one of the carriers at Roosevelt, I think.
Yeah.
I think it was Roosevelt. I can't remember which one. There's two of them out there, I think. But anyway, it was Roosevelt, I think, the big stick. So anyway, the Americans were harassing the Russians, just hoping beyond hope that the Russians were going to squeeze a couple off, take them down, and shazam, World War III's on, you know, and no one will notice the financial collapse that's about ready to happen. But the Russians didn't fire. So what happened was they flew around. They made these guns. You got to understand, a fighter doesn't have much airtime when they're in burner mode and they're flying around. They burn fuel real fast. Now, if you're on a carrier, that means you got to go. You got to fly a bit. So anyway, they burn them around. But the Russians, they have airfields there. So anyway, after they made these Hornets burn their fuel, they had to fly back to the carrier base, to the carrier, to land. And then they went in and bombed them when they were landing, refueling.
Yeah, I read that.
All right? And nothing was fired. Nothing, you know? So, yeah. Look, the Russians are, look, man, the Russians are smart. Okay? These people play chess against people who play poker, you know, thump their chest.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know?
But I noticed the other day, too, that Putin had done an interview with some journalist. I don't remember who it was. And this journalist tried to set a trap for him, and Putin come out on the top and then some by the time he got done. And then you could just see he just looked like the cat that swallowed the canary, man.
Oh,
He knew that he had won.
Well, he himself is a chess master.
Yeah.
Okay, he's a thinker. There's something else that you may want to look at besides what was going on in Syria.
Okay.
Trump openly, and this coincides with Trump firing Lewandowski as his campaign manager,
Okay.
too. Trump came out and said, on Monday, I am going to do a speech and I am going to reveal the crimes of the Clinton and the Clinton Foundation. So what happened? What happened Saturday, Sunday? A shooting in Orlando that all of the news had to wag their finger at. Gays, guns, and Muslims. Huh? So, but it was thrown together so fast. You know, they won't release the 911 tapes. Now they're holding on to those. And they say, okay, we are going to release them. I think it was 2 years ago, one of the telecommunications companies, you know, obviously handled in Israel, has learned how to do, can mimic any voice. I've got the documentation on that. Let me find it for you and I'll send it to you. So that was one thing. And you know how fake that was, you know, like even when they got that on film, they're carrying the so-called wounded people to the nightclub as opposed to away from it. I mean, this thing was worse than the Boston bombing and Sandy Hook. You know,
Yes,
it was
yeah, it
thrown
was.
together. It was thrown together too quickly, and that was to stop the Trump from actually getting out and speaking nationally about the crime of the Clinton Foundation. So that I think that was a huge part of it. And you know, these Clintons, they've been in they've been tied up in all this ever since the cocaine running and gun running from Mina.
Oh, they're still doing that.
Well, yeah, look, they know that they can blackmail the entire Congress. And a great conspiracy is when you can make your worst enemy try to help cover up because they still want the cushy paycheck, the great jobs, the hot and cold running interns that show up every year, you know. Who wants to give that up? You know, so yeah, look, everyone in Congress is blackmailable. And in the Senate too.
That's right.
You know, they either throw them kids or they throw them money.
Yeah.
You know, they're either blackmailable or bribable. So, and if they don't pledge their allegiance to Israel, then you know it's no good. You know, America is a Vichy government. They are, but 2016 is the year that the public truly woke up to it because they ditched the corporate media for the internet. They saw the frauds that are going on. I mean, how do you hide when someone has 2-hour waiting lines and they say 30,000 people were filled, but you still have, you know, people lining up to get in. And then they show the Clintons, and they have to have their staff get on the floor so they show more people there. You can't hide these things. The fraud. A couple of people are starting to ask the UN to come in and monitor the rest of the elections.
That's not a good idea.
That's an excellent idea.
No, it's not.
Yes, it
No.
is. All right.
No.
I think it's a wonderful thing because it's not the UN. It's it's observers who come in and do reporting. All
Yeah,
right?
I saw how that worked in Honduras. It's not a good idea. So I think we can have people come in and observe. That's fine, but not from the UN or NATO.
Oh no! You don't want anything to do with the military. What you want is independent observers to come in and say, "We see this as," you know. I mean, like you saw. Look, but you know, you want to be able to have things that are auditable. You know, like these black boxes. Goodness gracious, you know, that's a Soros-owned company that's processed in Portugal. You know. With no auditing information whatsoever, you know. Look,
There's a lot of videos going out around the net now saying, "Do not vote this year."
Well, let me tell you what. All right, these little black boxes, even though they can do whatever they want, you can't overturn a landslide. There was a huge deal that happened in California. 2 of them, actually. The media did not take any exit polls during the Clinton-Sanders vote. You know why? Because the exit polls would have shown that Sanders won by a landslide. All right, and if an exit poll is
anything greater than 2% different, that is fraud.
Well, Trump is experiencing that now. They did polls today, and Trump was way down. Clinton's way up.
Well, you can make a poll over anything,
Yeah.
but the deal is, it's the exit poll at the gate. Who did you vote for? Who did you just so this is the legitimacy of voting, so they can tell whether there's fraud or not. Who did you vote for? Clinton. Who did you vote for? Sanders. That's it. They don't interview you anymore. That is just part of it. It is a statistical poll to see what's going on as you go in, as you write your paper, as you leave. So it's tracking. When Scotland voted, there was no exit polls taken. How can you... Oh, well, this is what the result is. Well, what do the exit polls say? There was no exit polls. This is the result. Take it. You must believe us. So whenever you find a place without an exit poll, look, as far as these polls they put on the newspaper, look, do you really think Trump is losing? Do you know anyone that wants to vote for Hillary Clinton? I mean, think about
I
this.
personally do not know anyone that wants to vote for that woman. No.
Well, that's what I'm saying, okay? So the media is then brought into this saying, oh, yes, it is. She can't even fill a high school basketball stadium.
I don't know. Maybe Mike wants to vote for her. You want to vote for Clinton, Mike?
Well, that would be one person if he said yes.
I'm just looking for one.
Well, that's the whole point. Everyone is saying this. No. So the people realize this, and this is the year that the people actually understand. When George Carlin said the illusion of voting.
Now, how do we get them from understanding to standing?
Look, here's my point of view. You don't want to give these people any reason to create martial law, because the government is really good at killing people. They've had a lot of practice at it, and they're armed up really well. What's going to happen is the economy is going to implode. There are more people. China is selling all of its debt around the world that America owes it, and the Federal Reserve is buying it back up. Okay, so the people realize these stock markets are an illusion, and the reason they know this is because the bond yields are 0%. When you and I were little tykes, Kathy, people used to say, "Oh, buy a U.S. Treasury savings bond,"
Yeah.
You buy these in 7 years. You pay $56. 7 years later, it's worth $100. This is how you say, well, there's no yield on the bonds. So this means people's retirements are gone. The people who are retired, their investments are returning nothing. So they're having to throw their money at the stock market, which, of course, is as phony as anything else can be. So you don't pay attention to the stock market. You pay attention to the bond yield. This is where all the workers, where their retirement money goes into, where they plan for the bond yield. Screw this whole stock market thing. That's illusion. That is clearly what's going on. You follow the bond yield. And it is that simple right now in
in the lies that we live in. So, if you...
That's what I keep saying. Everything out there, outside of my home, there's no reality out here anymore. There's only the reality of the elite. There's no reality of the people.
Hey, man, the firearms manufacturers are doing pretty
Hey,
good.
and
Right
Obama's
now,
doing
okay,
really good. He owns stock in those.
Follow the firearms and the bond yield.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, I wanted to, I was
ahead.
just going to make sure that I spelled wretched right when I said wretched winch, meaning Hillary.
Oh, I thought you said wretched wrench. I don't know what he's doing back there, but okay.
Hey, look, you're talking nicely about it.
Yeah, really.
You're talking nicely about it. But yeah. So look, that's the big thing. Make sure that your listeners understand when people are going the stock. Well, even not many people play the stock market because they don't have money to play it. And when they but something simple to make this really easy is you tell them what is the bond yields that are happening. If there's no interest on the bond yields, then everything is an illusion because no one's making money on their retirement, your savings, nothing is happening. Nothing.
Right.
So, well, you see there's a couple platforms of gold and silver. They keep meeting this resistance, but they're pushing back. They're going to break it, and when it breaks, it's going to go amazing. I was listening to one of the stock traders that I follow, and the reason I follow this guy, his name's Gregory Manarino. He has his own.
I follow him too.
Well, okay. Well, I listen to him daily because, he puts his money where his mouth is. He says, here's my trades. He shows you for free.
Yeah.
Every day. Well, so, well, if you follow him, then, you pretty much can verify that this is who I listen to because he's the guy that he puts his trades out there for free every day. He tells you when he wins, he tells you when he loses. Hell, I've been on I go to a site, traderschoice.net, every day to listen to the guy. He openly talks about the resistance and the pushbacks of gold and silver and he said, but it's getting higher, it's getting higher, it's getting higher. I said, when it breaks, it's going to be like a dam letting loose,
Speaking of that, what do you know about the WebBot report?
What about it? What are you asking?
I mean, do you think that they say it's 65% correct on the short term predictions it puts out? The long term, it's a little less.
I don't know, man. I don't look. I'm not an investor. Here's what I know. Anytime I get cash, I buy silver.
That's it. Yes.
Let me tell you that. If I get a paycheck for $900, it costs me $300 this week. I'm pretty much throwing $500 in bullion. Just deliver it right in my hand.
I was getting it once a month, and every day they would send me the reports from the company I was getting it from, and that stopped 2 weeks ago. So I think they must have run out of physical coins, silver.
Oh yeah, well it's going to happen. It's going to happen.
Yeah.
All right, it's amazing. It's amazing, that I just keep buying. That's the bottom line to it. All right, that they can lie about everything else, but when and they know this is going to implode, so they can come in and they can buy all the natural resources in the industries back up. Here, this is mine, and they get it at a fire sale. Remember that big fire in Canada over the uranium mines?
Oh man, did they clear on that one? The insurance companies and the banks, they're the ones that made money on all that.
Well, they didn't have to. They didn't have to fight with any EPA to say,
Yeah.
okay, well, you know, here
That's right.
we'll, you know, it was just scorched. They didn't have to buy any people's homes, moving costs, anything like that. You notice they didn't take any of the water tankers that that
Yeah.
Russia offered them to them. Other places, not. We're doing just, and they had even sent their water bombers elsewhere.
Yeah, and it's still burning.
Well, of course it is. Hey, man, you know, don't be running a good fairy tale. You know, hey, that burn, man. These people are evil, and this is why a World War III is. These people are they will not give up power. All right, these are the people who are responsible for exploding nuclear weapon twice. When Japan was actually said, we give, man, we give. The only thing we want is to keep our emperor because it's religious. You know, which of course they still let that happen. But you know, no. Here, we got to show the world we're psychotic enough to do this not once but twice.
Yeah.
You know, so.
Think of all the people we've murdered as a nation.
Oh, goodness gracious. I'd prefer to think of all the people the bankers have murdered.
Well, they have, but you know, when the people talk about it outside of here, they don't say the bankers. They say America.
You better believe it, man. In 50 years from now, people will look at the American flag with more disgust than 50 years ago that we used to look at Nazi Germany.
Yeah.
Well, here's the interesting thing with that. So there's a lot of people that are going on and on about how all these mass murders and all this violence in this country is because of guns, of course. But the truth of the matter is, as a country, we've been at war for comparatively, almost every year since we've been a country. We've been somewhere meddling in somebody's business. And now all of our media, TV shows, it's like you can't turn on a TV show without there being 5 people killed within the first 10 minutes of the show. I think that's where the violence comes from. It's people that they have a mindset that if there's someone different or that thinks different from them, that they need to kill them. I mean, that's what we see on TV and what we see in our government.
Yeah, we're supposed to fear them.
Well, they've been working on the mind control thing for quite a bit. You remember before television there was radio. You remember the unique Orson Welles, War of the World, And there was the stories of how that set the nation on the edge. We have aliens coming. And there some people actually killed themselves. So,
yeah, there's been quite a few.
And long ago, that they recognized when radio was large and the movie industry was looked at as a fad by most people. You don't think the people in power realized how important moving pictures were going to be? And that's the real propaganda, is the entertainment factor, that the people disconnecting with their mind. I don't know, mate. Like I haven't watched a television in, I don't know, getting close to 3 years now, I guess. I've seen it, but I personally don't watch it at home for all sorts of reasons. And I can control the content I view on the computer by what I want. So, goodness gracious. It's an evil thing. And again, this will all be blamed on the people. It won't be blamed. It won't go where the blame belongs, especially if the bankers win this time again, because they are the ones who write the history books.
Yeah, but I don't think the bankers are going to win so easy this time. There's a lot of them going down. Big banks.
Oh, you better. And this is the big one, because they're all tied globally. All right,
that's
before,
right.
when it happened in the 30s, saying, oh, bankruptcy going on, blah blah blah. There were other central banks in other countries say, oh, we'll help, just ship them some gold, do whatever the case may be. They're all tied together now. They're all connected, and there's only something like, it's the amount of money that they say that people are in debt. It's not even that amount of money printed in the world.
That's not a problem anyway. We're definitely not broke, because we just gave $20 million today. We gave a promise of $20 million to somebody. I can't remember who it was.
Oh, they gave $40 billion to Israel.
Yeah. See, so
okay.
What kind of lie are we being told here?
Hey, look, the whole deal is they got to break America. That's the whole deal, because once America is broken and gone and totally overrun, they're the last people with an armed population, basically.
Yeah.
That could actually really do anything, So anyway, I don't know, man. We've got the front seats. Depends on, whether the fat lady sings or someone in a white hat rides up. Who knows? But I do know that we're always going to be told we lose, It's like, you knave, that's the king's water. How dare you pay taxes? You knave, you. That is the king's.
I think that Europe is just about to get a big slap in the jaw, because yesterday I was on public TV with a program called Call for Investigations.
Yep.
And I learned that the queen over there is not of the blood, the family bloodline that is required to be a queen. She should not be there. She legally should not have that position. And now they're going to go after it.
There's always been some hanky-pankies going around through there.
Yeah.
Look, the big thing is that you're seeing a million people stand up in France right now, and it's not being reported. People are standing up in England. It's not being reported. People are fighting back. It's not being reported. The reason why is because they don't ever want anyone to see that, geez, there's 1,000 people closing in on one person. They don't want that illusion to shatter. So, and again, the corporate media, you used to call it the mainstream. It's not the mainstream anymore. People come to the internet for their news. We've unseated them. By the Bureau of Statistics have just reported that. So, we are the mainstream now. So it's quite unique. Like, who does the view counts on your YouTube channel? I mean, clearly you get some programs that go bigger than others. But I mean, some of them must be really amazing when you go, wow, that was a big show, and it still just keeps ratcheting over. And have you had any problems with YouTube resetting numbers or just stalling them?
I've had stalling.
Where numbers just don't move anymore, right?
Yep.
Yeah, okay. Because they don't want people to see that, all right? They don't want that on the trending side. So, but I can tell you right now, from just recently, a couple days ago, looking at the Bureau of Statistics being reported, the internet media is now the mainstream media. So make sure that you correct anyone who ever says mainstream media, MSM, you correct them and go, no, they are not. The internet is now. We have unseated them. You pull them up on it.
Well, there's another interesting thing, too, and this has been reported by very much of the alternative radio industry on YouTube. Like, for instance, my numbers as far as views, just that they're on a steady rise, and they keep on a steady rise. And we're doing actually pretty good as far as views are concerned. But the revenue, which isn't much to begin with, keeps dropping lower and lower and lower. It's amazing how that works.
Oh, yeah. Of course.
I think we need to move into podcasting.
Yeah, we do need to get onto that. Yep.
Yeah.
Is anyone here following Sybil Edmonds?
I do.
The Boiling Frog post, her new show. Is anyone watching that at all?
Yeah, I am.
And look, man, that's a crowd-funded one, and she's the first one that's actually really trying to organize the indies to where once we get organized, look, there are just some greedy people out there that they're held by their advertisement, and the ones who actually start doing anything good, they get their advertisement pulled, right off the bat,
Yeah.
So
the other thing that they did and are in the process still of doing, and you YouTubers, especially you news reporters, need to pay attention to this. They are doing everything they can to get you to fight amongst each other. And all the while, they're stealing your news reports and the government has them now taking your news reports that you're making and trying to turn them upside down and inside out. But they're actually getting them from you guys on YouTube. So when you consistently are fighting out there and letting yourselves be divided, you're just ruining a good thing, because we are now considered the mainstream. We have to have integrity like you wouldn't believe in our reporting.
Hey, man, I will never make a dent anywhere if I can pull a few people over on Facebook here and there or whatever, because there's always going to be the controlled opposition. But there's actually some people who actually think, well, yeah, maybe we should be doing some gun control, and if I pop in, I'll get back to this real quickly about how I was on a fight, it was in sort of a battle, and I was laying out, but I'm actually typing out, I'm not posting links and videos, I'm actually in the chat, going, well, there, do you realize that this, so I'm not just, people just post links and pictures and memes or whatever the case may be, it's all bullshit. I'm actually in there typing away, working my fingernails. So finally, I got about 3 of them back. Well, you should come to New Zealand. We don't have any problems. I'm not worried.
So I draw about 3 of them into it, and they're all coming against me, going, well, we need gun control. And after I've brought out the ones who are, and it's going on for a little bit. And I said, well, okay, here, we need to clarify this situation for a bit. So you telling me you believe that 9/11 was 2 planes that brought down 3 buildings, that the government actually did not know anything about that, and that vaccines are really safe for you, and you trust your government with your Obamacare, that you're going to save $2,500, and it is not going to go up, and that there were no torpedoes in the Gulf of Tonkin that started the Vietnam War, that there actually were not weapons on the Lusitania, because that sank by a German sub that started World War I, but yet they actually did show it in 1996. It did have weapons on it. So where do you stand on this position? Bam! Man, my computer got hit. That whole chat went everywhere. Okay? But I had to make them state their position. What is your position on this? And I just laid it right out. There was no way they could say anything about it. And so I figured, because if they said, oh, look, 9/11 was terrorist, well, they're bullshit then. Because everyone you bring up to 9/11, how did 2 airplanes bring down 3 buildings, and no building, skyscraper in 100 years has ever burnt to the ground? I mean, it's just... So, if you actually bring that up, and people go, oh, I believe the government's story, well, you know that they're out in the cattle field.
They're non-thinkers is what they are, and it's easier to believe a lie than it is to research the truth.
Well, the whole thing, you really believe 2 airplanes brought down 3 buildings. I mean, did I ever give you the Larry Silverman speech in Israel, where he actually talked about, this is a year and a half before 9/11 happened, a year before he had the lease on the towers. Here, I'll bring this right up and I'll give it to you. Larry Silverman was speaking in Israel.
We should play it if we can. We load it. It's a video.
It's only a minute and a half. It's only a minute and a half.
Can we do that, Mike?
And I've got it edited down. And he's talking about. Just a second. Let me bring it right up. Larry Silverman. Towers. Israel speech. So he actually admits the prior knowledge of this, where he says, well, he had drawings of the World Trade Center 1 a year before he had the lease on the towers. Okay, and he's doing this in Israel, and this speech happened, I don't know, back in 2007 or something. So, but I'll bring it right up for you.
If you
are you with? Oh, Mike, you're there. Okay.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you give me the link, I can pull it up. Unlike the Bing noise.
Oh, that's all right. Well, there's a couple of them, and I'm trying to get you the shortest version of it. I've edited it down, and this is just horrific, mate. This is absolutely. This is the hang on. I'm sorry. I'm not like a woman. I don't multitask.
Well, you got that one right, Jerry.
Have either?
Hey man, I'm the first one to admit it because I think multitasking is shit. Women just have to do it because they got kids. How many birthdays? What's going on? Blah 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 blah. You know, it's difficult.
Yes, it is.
It's a difficult thing. I'm almost there. Almost there.
There's
actually a bounty for these things that they were. That someone was looking for the Pull It video. They said, we'll pay $10,000 if we can ever get the Pull It video. And I think there's a $10,000 bounty on it.
42,000 feet.
Have either or both of you heard the Dylan Radigan rant?
It's going to contain
No.
Oh my! I'll while he's looking for that, I'll find it.
Yeah, put it up too, so we can hear it.
It's on the economy, and I mean this guy just goes off and speaks nothing but truth.
There you go. Oh yeah, I'm familiar with it. You take there's a this is like a minute and 17 seconds. You talk about enlightening. Now you got to understand, he had plans for the new World Trade Center a year and a half before 9/11.
Yeah.
And he took the lease. He wasn't even the leaseholder, and he already had plans, and he admits it. But this was like an hour and 45-minute speech he did in Israel, and he stayed in complete character, but for somehow this just slipped out. But I mean, he's just smacking his gums. There's a, you can see the Jewish script on the back. He's actually in Israel. He didn't think this was ever going to make it out.
That would actually be the Zionist script, not the Jewish script.
Oh, really?
Yes.
That says a lot right there.
Yeah.
All right, let me play this real quick.
A football field. There were now only 42,000 feet. And the building is going to contain not 2 million feet, but 1.7 million. And that's one of the sacrifices we have to make. I said, let's make it and let's get on with it. And so, next thing you know, we've got the designs of a building. And the first design meeting was in April of 2000. And construction began shortly thereafter in 2002. And we went to finance the building with Liberty Bonds, construction bonds from the Liberty Bond program that was initiated by the federal government to enable us to rebuild the Trade Center. But it still required insurance company bonds, insurance company payments under the policies. And so, next thing you know, this building was under full construction.
Did you hear him say we had the
building
first
is going to
drawing
contain
April
not 2 million
2000?
feet, but 1.7 million.
Oops, I don't know why it started to replay. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I did hear him say that, and holy cow.
And he said, "Oh, it took insurance, it took the government." This, he just admitted he accepted the first drawings, April 2000, and construction began shortly after in 2002.
Wow, that's unreal. Did you
Yeah.
want to hear that Dylan Radigan rant?
Yes, I did.
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
It's funny.
Oh, it's this guy
I need a
nails it.
laugh.
This guy
Was
nails
that
it.
on IRTV? That one where he said, "This is play it."
I think I know what you're about ready to play. It's great.
Okay, yeah, it was on MSNBC, and actually the guy that is actually one of the hosts of the show, I think he lost his job for agreeing with Dylan.
Two of them the other day.
Yep. Here you
we
go.
owe $70 trillion.
I understand that, but
to walk out a $4 trillion solution, which is basically just a way for the Democrats to avoid dealing with this until 2017. I'm not here to talk about plans to deal with this till 2017. I'm saying we've got a real problem. Republicans and Democrats, Republicans who want to burn the place to the ground, and Democrats, with all due respect, who want to offer a plan that gets it through the end of the presidency and then screws me kids when it's over. We have to deal with the extraction that is at foot and is the reason the financial markets are behaving. That is a mathematical fact. This is not some opinion. This is a mathematical fact. Tens of trillions of dollars are being extracted from the United States of America. Democrats aren't doing it. Republicans are not doing it. An entire integrated system, financial system, trading system, taxing system that was created by both parties over a period of 2 decades is at work on our entire country right now. And we're sitting here arguing about whether we should do the $4 trillion plan that kicks the can down the road for the president for 2017 or burn the place to the ground. Both of which are reckless, irresponsible, and stupid. And the fact of the matter is, until we actually, and I'm sorry to lose my temper, but I tell you what, I've been coming on TV for 3 years doing this. And the fact of the matter is that there's a refusal on both the Democratic and the Republican side of the aisle to acknowledge the mathematical problem, which is that the United States of America is being extracted. It's being extracted through banking, it's being extracted through trade, and it's being extracted through taxation. And there's not a single politician that has stepped forward, Susan, to deal with this.
But there's only one right now. The leader of the free world, whether you like it or not, the President of the United States is arguably one of the most powerful individuals we have out there.
But
and
Susan,
he's
what
our
you're
president.
saying is exactly the point that Dylan is making. It's not about one guy. It's about all of them.
No, I actually disagree. I think Dylan's saying it is about one guy.
It is about one guy. That idea will not happen as long as there's the capacity to basically fire a politician who disagrees with me by taking funding away from him. Is that a fair assessment?
Money in politics is the root of all political evil. It is corruption at its worst. And until we step up and kick that out of the park, it's going to be the same system all
and only the president could do that. We're going to keep you guys.
Congress has to do it too. The Congress has to do it too.
But I'll tell you what. How bad does it have to get? How much money has to be extracted? How many things have to be heard?
Down to brass tacks. Okay, physically, what do? You go
and give a speech
right now.
Right now.
Right now.
You say.
And then what happens tomorrow?
Tomorrow, what happens is you begin the process of actually investing in solving the problem. So I come out and I say, how? I create an infrastructure bank with 2% blending immediately. There's that. Once I explain to people the problem, once I explain to you have cancer, once you understand how screwed up your trade, tax, and banking policies are, believe me, you will have no issue when I incorporate an infrastructure bank that I fund with repatriated offshore money that I bring in and then use to create 2% direct lending to every business in America, because when you realize that the banking system is fully corrupt and defrauding us, and I come out and say that, which is what I want my president to do, Then at that exact moment, I say, you know what? We got a screwed up situation here, people. You all know it, and now what? I'm going to admit it. And as a result, not only have I admitted it, but we're going to begin the process of solving it like grown-ups. They did it in World War II. They did it after the Civil War. They did it in Latin America with the Brady bonds. We are not seeing it happen now. The panel stays a little more emotional than I anticipated getting at work this afternoon, but what am I going to do?
Yeah, that was a big one, wasn't it?
Yes.
You know what we should do? We should contact that man, and we should offer him a little position over here on Watchman News. He can come and help we the people now.
Yeah. I mean, because, I tell everybody all the time, I am not an economist. I am not a financial expert. I do play videos of people that, I don't know if I would call J-Snip for an expert, but, he's definitely more knowledgeable about it than what I am.
Yeah, well, there's quite a few of them out there that are more knowledgeable than we are.
Well, you just heard a guy rant live on national TV.
That's right.
Saying he is begging. He is absolutely begging. Give me a platform. But that was his one swing to say, this is what has to happen. And look, we got a Vichy government. All right? It is taken over by the bankers and the world corporations. I mean, the government can't afford to have people healthy. The medical platform will fail if you were healthy. They have to be selling you a maintenance program.
Yep.
Hey, that guy Omar in Orlando. Did you hear that that G4S security mob? They falsified his psychological report. The doctor whose name was on it, he said, I wasn't in the state. I never met with the guy. They forged my name.
Wow.
So the doctor who was listed on his psychological evaluation for this G4S, this government company, they falsified, they put another name down. All right? So that means there is government collusion in that.
Yep. Exactly.
All right, so.
And there were several doctors. I think there was 4 of them they brought out so far, and you could tell every one of them was liars.
Oh, they don't have a photo. That's the only photo they have of them. Is that one that they brought out? That's the only. And you notice they come out in scrubs. All right, like scrubs are supposed to be worn in a surgical theater for contamination. That was all theater. That was all props.
Yeah, I wrote a note to those doctors, and one video they were on, and I said, I wear my scrubs to bed.
Oh man. Well, there's some other things. They're really this email scandal is coming. They're trying to bury this because Clinton is clearly guilty of a Chapter 18 felony, which basically says if you're guilty of that, you are not allowed to hold a public office ever again. And it doesn't mean if it was a mistake or she's sorry. Let's put it this way. If you're in a car, you get caught up, you're busy, you answer your phone, you run a red light, and you kill a pedestrian, you're sorry, but you're going to jail.
That's right.
All right? So her giving this one order to Jacob Sullivan, strip the classification heading off it and email it non-secure, is a direct Title 18 violation. And part of that is you can never hold public office again, which would mean the President of the United States. And no one has brought this up. So
Oh, yeah, it's been brought up, but it gets taken down
not
right away.
not in the public arena.
Oh, okay.
Okay, it hasn't. So, and that's the same thing like her server. You know, it's clear that that server was used. It's a perfect spy tool. Here, you pitch a few million into the foundation, and we will act favorably to you. She was running that State Department as her home, as her man. Al Capone would be dancing if he was alive, going, "You wicked people." You know? You have done a global operation. It's about
Have you done any bloodline checks? Maybe they're related.
The only continent you didn't get money from was Antarctica.
Yeah, really.
You know, she had a global operation going.
That she does. I knew that
Well,
firsthand
she
in
did.
Honduras. Yeah.
She absolutely did. You know?
Well, you want to hear something as crazy as it gets? Today, apparently, SCOTUS ruled that the courts can use illegally obtained information.
Really?
Yeah, I read that. Yes, I read that. Yeah. All right. So, look, what people also have to realize is that the Supreme Court is not the be-all and end-all. All right? That, everyone says that they are the final deciders. Well, in fact, they are not, because you could actually use the Constitution. I believe there's a statement in there in the Constitution that says any laws repugnant to the Constitution are thus null and void. So the Constitution is the actual supreme law of the land. You know? Look, the government's been taken over. It seems that all these people who aspire to power are the ones who are that need to be the furthest away from it. They are pedophiles, they are drug addicts, they are mentally unstable. This is clearly that, and they're all lawyers. Has anyone drawn a line and figured that out? Have they built the bridge and crossed over that? They are all lawyers. I mean, look, for the new Constitution of America, when the financial system falls and they come rising out of the ashes, the one thing that needs to be said is no lawyers allowed. Actually, I think that was the original 13th Amendment to the Constitution that got actually stripped out. And this was all from the bankers, too. And they replaced it with a different one. Did you guys see the Google search that came up that showed the Pulse nightclub shooting 6 hours before on June 11th? Did you see that?
No, but you know what I watched on Sunday was I was just thumbing through my pages to see where I put them names, but I think it's in the other room. There was a Homeland Security guy, and he was fired because of what he did, but he came forth and he told the truth about Clinton and her papers and knowing about this thing in Florida. They knew about this much prior to the time it happened. And so he brought all of that out. Because he brought all of that out, the Congress calls him in to testify. He testifies and they want to let him go. They don't want nothing to do with him. Michelle Bachmann stepped forward. Now, I'll give her credit for that. I didn't think she had it in her. But she stepped forward. She fought hard and long for him not to be fired. They fired him anyway. He then goes out. He has written a book about all these things prior, that prior knowledge to all of these false flags. Because he was their top investigator. There wasn't anything he had not already figured out. So because they fired him, the book went into print. And I've written to him. I want to get him on as a guest because that would be one hot show.
You heard about one of the Secret Service guys got a book that's coming out in a couple weeks. It's #1 on Amazon right now. And he's the one that's spilling all the dirt on Hillary right now.
Yeah.
The
Secret Service guys hated her. None of them liked her.
Of course they despised her. There was a GoFundMe page 2 days after the Orlando shooting.
There was actually was applied for the day before the shooting.
Yeah. All right. So the page, the people that applied for this GoFundMe page, one of them, listen to this guy, all right? I'm going to give you the whole board of directors on this page who did this. Here was the #2 man. His name is Ken Shinlin. He's the vice chairman. He was the FDA hitman for Big Pharma. For 34 years, he worked in the enforcement arm of the United States Food and Drug Administration in Philadelphia, Detroit, and Baltimore. For much of the time, he managed a number of offices in several states, as well as helped to write federal regulation and policy documents in the drug regulatory area. He received numerous awards during his federal service, including 2 Reinventing Government Awards and the FDA's highest individual achievement award, the Award of Merit. Subsequent to his federal career, he consulted with pharmaceutical manufacturers throughout the world on drug regulatory compliance issues. He also planned, executed, and spoke at numerous pharmaceutical manufacturers' conferences sponsored by the University of Rhode Island College of Pharmacy in the U.S. and Europe for a period of 10 years. Now, this is the payoff, all right? So this GoFundMe page, we're going to give money to the victims of a non-shooting, all right? So there's the board of directors. And now on day 2, it had $6 million. Okay, on day 2, it had $6 million. Go check out the rest of the people who are on there and see their credentials. Dirty? My God, this is the payoff. This is, here, you guys need some. They got $86,000 court win from BP spill, the Horizon. Now, how did these people, a gay organization, get BP to give them $86,000 in a lawsuit? This is for the gay rights civilization. They have someone in there in transgender studies and oh Christ, I had their financials. They're making $2 million a year in 2011 as a tax-free organization. This was a huge payoff for these people right there, and it is sickening. So these are how these little payoffs happen right now. there's a quick million to you and you and you and you and you. And
you're right, because on the second day, what they said was they had 2 million, and then I think it was third day they had 4 million. Now you're saying that second day was 6
million. And then they stopped reporting on it.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
So this is the payoff. You know? This is how they do some little dark black fundings and stuff like this, you know? Hey, look, we'll slip a few million here or there. What? And if you actually went to the page, you were seeing people going, oh, look, I gave my last $2, you know? Can't we all just get along, you know? I dug that one up. I said, man, I smell a rat on this one. How they get $6 million so quick?
I'm going to take you a little further down that little rabbit hole. Satan wants us to worship him like we would worship God. Therefore, when we beg him to help us, in this case Satan being our government, when we beg them to help us, they're going to help us as long as we turn our guns in, okay? So the same thing applied the night of the shooting. The people, the general population hanging around there said, we want to help. What can we do? And they said, give blood. So all these people, it was hundreds of them that showed up by the next day and the day after and the day after that. Hundreds and hundreds. And they gave blood. The day after, there were so many people that showed up that they realized that they could actually use this. And so they got on the news and they asked for, the mainline news, they asked for everyone across the United States to give blood until that Thursday. Obama said, fly the flags at half-mast till Thursday. I don't know why yet. I'm looking for the answer to that. But why was everybody picking this Thursday date, which would have been the 16th? I got to thinking about it the next day, Jerry, and I said, holy cow. They got everybody to give their DNA, and they asked to do it. Now, when you give your blood at these places, you have to give your name, you have to give your address, give a little background about yourself.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Yes.
And then they got the DNA and they fed the data into the DNA banks and they just got a good start, didn't they? Off the goodness of the American people.
Yeah. Oh, hey, look. And see, there's a real deal, because if you're a homosexual, you have to be sex-free for a year before you can donate blood, because they had this big scandal happen in Arkansas where they were taking blood from prisoners.
Yeah.
And of course, you know what happens in prisons. You know, you may want to stay sex-free, but it ain't gonna happen. So there was a lot of, and in Clinton's were making the prisoners donate blood or whatever, and a lot of tainted blood came out of that.
What they did that night when they were asking to donate blood, they lifted the ruling that 2 homosexual men could not give blood.
Well, that's insane, because
what does that tell you? It tells me that they only wanted the DNA.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yes. I totally agree. Good one. I didn't even get that. Hey, look, you can't capture everything. Hey, all right.
Think as evil as they think. That's the problem.
Okay, now this is a change of subject. Did anyone report to you about how the Russians electronically captured a Northrop Global Hawk drone and landed it.
Yes.
This is the crown jewel of the drone program. I mean, these things are huge, man. These are jets, all right? Just because no one flies them, you could line 10 people up against this thing, and the drone would still be larger, all right? It's so the big. Amazing thing is they electronically captured it. So they're going to know what they could do and all. The Russians are so far advanced on electronic warfare that we shouldn't even be poking these people. All right?
That's right.
I mean, they should. All right.
You want to poke that bear.
Okay, the Spratly Islands in China. Okay, everyone keeps saying, you know, there's a couple phrases we hear an awful lot. Russian aggression, Russian aggression. You know, well, I don't see any Russian tanks rolling around in Europe, but I see a lot of NATO armament rolling around. And then the other word we hear an awful lot of is Chinese aggression, Chinese aggression, Chinese aggression. Yeah. All right? And wow, all right. There is, in 1943, a treaty signed between China, the United States, and England called the Cairo Treaty that said that every bit of island in the South China Sea that Japan captured belongs to China. This has been recognized by treaty in 1943. It is the Cairo Agreement. All right? So, and here's everyone going, Chinese aggression, Chinese aggression. There's oil out in the Spratlys. All right? And so what did China do, man? They made some man-made islands. Big deal. They don't call it the South China Sea for nothing. You know?
That's right. That's right.
But the whole point that I'm trying to, you know, so anyone who keeps saying this, it's called the Cairo Agreement. And it's 3 paragraphs long. It says anything that Japan captured during the war is yours. Okay? That's it. It's China's. So I just wanted to let your listeners know that. So when they start hearing these things, they have something to recognize.
You know, while we're blowing the whistle on what the U.S. is guilty of, here's a whopper for you. And this ties to what's going on between the U.S. and Russia in Syria.
The Golan Heights. It's gonna be the Golan Heights.
No, it's not. New Jersey-based Genie Energy is digging for oil in Syria, even though it clearly violates the international law under the Geneva Convention, specifically the annex to the 4th Geneva Convention. Its backers include, and get this,
Dick Cheney, the Rothschilds,
and Rupert Murdoch.
And Rupert Murdoch, yeah.
James Woolsey, Larry Summers. These are all ex-governors. You know.
Yeah. That's in the Golan Heights. That was land that Israel occupied, but it's Syria.
I got nothing to do with the Golan Heights here. We are digging for oil in Syria against the Geneva Convention. This company is the one that's doing it. Russia is not going to receive any benefit for all that they've done for that country because the U.S. is trying to kick them out.
Well, here's an interesting thing that's been going around for the last couple of days. And I tracked it down, and it doesn't appear there's anything official whatsoever to the DEFCON level. Well, supposedly we went to DEFCON 3 over the last couple of days. because of various events, because of travel advisories that have been made. And, here's the thing. Even though, there's nothing official about this DEFCON warning, I have to say that I'm a little bit nervous about the things that are going on, because I think China and Russia are about done.
Yeah, that's what got me up at 1 in the morning. It went from DEFCON 3 to DEFCON 1.
Oh, it went up?
And that's when I got up and said, boy, I better find out what the heck them planes are doing. But now Jerry said that they were facing each other in Russia.
Well, let me tell you what China and Russia's plans are.
Yeah.
All right? They know the West and the banks are broke. They know that. All right? They got them in a rock.
China's been helping to break them.
Hey, man. That's right. They've been buying gold. They've opened up a SWIFT banking system. They got their own BRICS banking. They're issuing bonds in other countries' currency, so they don't have to do this creation of money out of thin air. They're doing peace through trade. Anyone that's having problems, the Russians will come in there and say, hey, you can buy our miracle S-400 anti-aircraft system that no one can fly through, and they come in and say, we'll build nuclear reactors, dams, peace through trade. What's wrong with that? So here's their plan. They're standing them off. They're starving them out. They got their foot on the windpipe. That's why these Russian airplanes, these guys, let's run them out of fuel. Leave. When they have to go back and get fuel, come in and bomb them. They're not there to start a war because they know they are going to implode.
Right. Yep.
And what's going to happen is when everything implodes. Now you got to understand that 9 in 10 Americans have a gun. Now it was in 2008 that didn't we just bail out operations too big to fail? Mm-hmm. And here we are 8 years later seeing operations too big to fail coming to the shrinking middle class and people who can't afford to look after themselves with forced health care and vaccinations. I'm going to say, guess what? We need another bailout. Well, people, it's not that their backs are against the wall, it's that their backs against the wall, all their property's getting taken, they're being told what they can do, what they can't do. It's going to take one match. It's going to take one incident, one little tiny incident. It's amazing what starts a revolution. It is all it takes is one thing, and generally there's almost always a woman involved. Like where something's going to happen, where some cop beating up a woman, doing something bad, tasing her or something, and some guy's just going, I'm not part of this. Cops go, get back, pull guns, and the guy's going to be carrying or something, and he's going to say, you know what, this is it. Fuck you. Sorry.
Yeah, please.
And it's going to be a shootout, and there's going to be other people, and these are the things that start,
It's already happened in the U.S. There's a policeman that turned in, I think it was 5 guys now on the police force, and they were raping women that they were picking up.
Yeah.
And he got fired right away for bringing out the truth, Yeah. So it's starting already. And I'm glad. I mean, how are we going to win this war against this evil is that we have to bring out every whistleblower there is across this world. They should be shouting loudly right now. And the more that come out, the faster we get rid of these snakes.
Did you notice that there was no really Trump protesters when the bikers showed up?
I loved it. I absolutely loved it. Yeah, that's right.
Okay, just a point of interest here, all right? So we know that Cleveland has spent $50 million arming up, and we know they're not going to wear body cameras. All right, we know this. All right, so they're clearly advertising that they're going to attempt the theft. They're going, and they're waving this Ted born in Canada cruise again. You know.
I knew that would come.
Oh yeah, well of course, you know, of course. That you know, these people are not going to go silently into the night because they are going to be tried for war crimes, and you know, some of these people are due for a good hanging.
Yeah. You know, while I'm thinking of it, I would hope that there are bikers out there listening right now, and if you are listening, we need you in Washington, D.C., the 24th, 25th, and 26th. The families of the political prisoners and Lavoie's wife and her family will all be going to D.C. for a protest. Now, these are all women and kids. They need you guys standing around them. They need you there so nothing goes wrong.
Let's not leave out the truckers.
Oh yeah, bring them in.
Yeah,
All of everybody.
That's right.
There needs to be such a group around them that they would be deterred from trying anything.
Oh, for sure, for sure. Oh, amen. You know, hey, let me tell you what. This is truly. It's going to be a unique event. We're getting close there. We're in the front seats. You know, it's really amazing. This is a once in a lifetime event for this country to possibly shed the hooks of the world bankers and world corporations. All right, and clearly the owners do not want us, the serfs, to have this chance. Well, Kathy, thank you so much. It's like 1 o'clock here, and I'm still in my jammies.
Oh, all of a sudden that came on. Huh.
Oh, wow.
I was over in the chat room.
What came on?
The show playing in the background. I usually have to have that off so it doesn't interrupt anything. It just came on by itself. That's my computer. It's got gremlins.
What's your operating system? 7, 8. What are you running?
7.
Yeah, radio. You having any problems fending off the updates?
Nope. Nope. I got rid of all of that.
Excellent.
I found out how to get rid of old Windows 10 and Windows 8, and they just stopped bothering me with that.
Yeah, there's a little link called Never 10, and it's not even a download, and it'll shut every update for Windows 10 off forever. It's a very handy little tool. There's also a GWX control panel, but you have to update that because clearly Microsoft is, if they're persistent if they're not anything, you know, to make you get onto this Windows 10. So I mean I'm a Linux user. I only have one computer.
Yeah, I got another friend using Linux, but I don't know how to do that.
Yes, you can type, can't you? You can open up like Firefox, can't you?
I got rid of Firefox. It was literally giving me garbage.
Whatever you use, all right. If an internet browser is sort of like driving a Ford or a Buick. There's going to be a few little different things, you know. Yeah, you have to drive a Toyota. Uh-oh, here, you're in an Isuzu, you know. Everything's basically in the same place.
Nothing but American for me.
Okay. All right, hey, man. Hey, nothing more American than driving a Japanese car.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Hey, but let me tell you what.
Let me tell you what.
Never be. It's just the name that scares people. 10 years ago, that would be understandable. This day and age, it is. If someone didn't tell you, you wouldn't know. Honestly, you really wouldn't know. You know.
Know what?
You wouldn't know the difference, except for that it's one and the same, except for without all the extra bloatware and all that. There is no difference, except for it's much safer, it's faster, there's no bloatware, there's no adware, it comes fully loaded, you know, la da. It's just much better. Sort of like between a horse and buggy and driving an air-conditioned car. Okay, look, I got one more quick story for you. That I'm going to have to sort of call it a day. I have a few things that I really must do. This happened about a week and a half ago. Goldman Sachs, you know, the big bank, you know, one of the big ones. All right, in Japan, they had an intern, and a young, pretty Japanese girl, university graduate. And they were just about ready to hire, and they got past the job interview and all that, and they were just about ready to hire, and they asked her, they said, no, you can't do that, because she paid for her university by doing some pornographic films, and it broke their morality standard. Now, this is Goldman Sachs, morality standard. So they got their knickers twisted in a knot for a pretty young thing that actually dropped her knickers because she paid for her university herself instead of taking a big high-interest loan to pay for it and coming out, you know, $500,000 in debt from university. But as soon as she paid for her university, she quit. Now, isn't Goldman Sachs morality issues?
Yep.
Isn't that just amazing?
But
you know?
Better yet is Goldman Sachs is very close to being taken down. They're not going to be able to stand much longer with the lawsuits going behind them that are worse even than some of them overseas. So I'm waiting to see exactly how long we got before this money does in fact collapse. And many people that I've had on this show say it's not going to. So I don't know. I get all confused by that one.
Here's my honest opinion on this. If Trump does get elected, they'll be handing him a world war, and they'll blame everything on him when he steps in.
Yeah.
Okay, that's plan one. You know, if the Clintons can't steal it, you know. So look, but hey, we're all gonna find out, man. We're gonna find out soon enough. But for people to say the money is not going to crash, well, let's put it this way. There is too much debt. The interest rates on the debt are crippling.
Yeah.
Okay? It can't go on.
Well, according to Jim Willie when we had him on here, that the next thing that we're going to see happen right now in July is we're going to see the housing bubble take us back to where we were, but worse than 2008.
Oh, of course, of course.
And then once that has presented itself in a big way, then the money collapses, is what he said.
Well,
Others have told us that these people are parts of corporations, and these corporations are not going to let the money crash.
I have a plan.
Yes?
At 3 this morning, our time, I'm going to drink some Kool-Aid and go meet the UFO.
Okay. Tell them Kathy sent you.
Well, you know what? Whether they can say that all they want, but countries are leaving left and right.
Yeah,
Look at all these countries that we're having to re-invade because these people just don't accept their puppet rulers.
That's right.
Look what's going on with Yemen, Afghanistan, Iraq, Libya. These people keep fighting, and Syria. Look, we used to be we used to be fighting for democracy in Syria, and there's moderate rebels. Well, they've even given that one up. They've openly said, "Well, yeah, okay, we fund the rebels." All right. I mean, I guess
and still the American people don't get it. We fund the rebels. They say it right to your face, and you still ain't.
No, because everybody's still going on about Islamic terrorism and all that. As long as they keep going on about Islamic terrorism or, Muslim radicals and all that, they don't get it because we are the ones funding them.
Yeah.
Well, these things. Well, Ron Paul was the one who said these actions will come home to roost.
Yep.
All right. That what would do you know there was not a suicide bomber ever before until the invasion of Iraq?
Yeah, we didn't have any of these problems before we started going after those countries over there. And what business did we have over there?
Look at this. I was having this discussion, and I think what happens is some people. History eludes them, and this was the big deal. Gold used to be $35 an ounce in the 60s and 70s. All right, U.S. dollar, you used to be able to buy an ounce of gold for $35. Bargain. So what happened was, since everything was being spent in U.S. dollars. America promised, okay, look, we will not overprint the dollar. And as per usual, the bankers lied, and they started overprinting it. And what happened was people had to exchange these notes for actual goods of labor or farming. And they started looking into their bank vaults and went, well, you know what? We got an awful lot of paper. France was the one that popped the bubble. And they said in 1971, according to the Bretton Woods Agreement, we'd like to exchange all these notes for gold. And that was the day that Nixon stopped the convertibility of gold. So this was the birth of the petrodollar. And this is where they made a deal with Saudi Arabia. They said, you guys form OPEC and you sell your oil only for the U.S. dollar. We promise we will protect you from anything evil. But the money that you make off this, you must invest in America. Good deal. They got very wealthy. But do you remember what happened in 1973 when fuel was like less than 50 cents a gallon? It went over $1 a gallon. That was the first oil embargo. So for every country that had to buy oil in U.S. dollars, so America got a mafia-like piece of the action from every country because they had to use U.S. dollars. And this is where the huge wealth of Saudi Arabia came into play. So they had to, this is where they had to start rising fuel prices. You know, you no longer the big V8s, they went down to small 4-cylinder cars, the whole technology. Just completely tool, die, retool, redye, rechange. The shipbuilding instantly stopped. The steel industry was just rooted, changed. It went overseas. They started attacking the middle class at this point. This was the takedown of America. And the bankers just got lazy, all right? No one wants to buy anything from America anymore. No one wants the GMO food because it's dangerous, all right?
Yeah, I wish the American people would put a stop to that one. It's killing all of us. I've never seen so many stomach issues and muscle issues. It's all coming from that GMO food.
Okay. Oh, well, you better believe it, and the medicines that they're selling you too. All right. So this was the start of it. All right. The end of the gold convertibility into the petrodollar. France was the one that did this. And I'm not saying anything bad about France. So they did the right thing. They called the bankers out. So now, but this is people saying, well, we're bringing democracy to the Middle East, you know.
That's a big laugh.
You ever notice all these places that we keep bringing democracy into seem to be wanting to sell their oil for different currencies? It's like the euro, the gold dinar, things like that. They're evil. They're evil. We must bomb them. We must kill them. We must bring democracy so they can sell their oil for the dollar. You know, so yeah. But that's exactly how it happened. And now the rest of the world is looking at the United States right now and saying they can't attack us all. And the rest, there's parts in the Middle East that are starting to ask Russia for help. Libya is asking Russia for direct intervention.
Listen, there are a lot of people who are giving up their citizenship of the U.S. right now and moving to Russia.
He's given free land. He's given 2 hectares for free. You have to live in Siberia.
Oh, maybe I'll go there.
Well, here's the deal. It's way beautiful, but you know, you also gotta convert, you know, -40 in the winter. But he's going to be moving you places where they have road infrastructure. They will help set you up. They want to
get. And they probably have heat. We likely, when we get hit, won't have heat.
Oh, you're not going to have electricity.
That's right. No heat.
Okay. So your food's going to be gone in 3 days. Oh man, it's
not if you prep now. This is canning season, ladies. Can everything you can. Dry your foods. Get a food dryer. Get prepared.
Well, this is it. It's got to happen, man. Got to happen. So, yeah. And look, as far as people saying that the dollar is not going, that people are going to start. They can say that all they want, all right. But what they can't stop is other countries that are going and using the BRICS nation, their banking system. They're lending money out in people's own currencies, and they're not doing this creation from nothing. Their funding is backed by gold. The biggest place of gold in the world is South Africa. Yep. Who knows how much is coming out of Russia? That's 11 time zones. You just have there's places in Russia that have still never been foot surveyed. You know, you just don't know what their mineral resources are. And same with China. You know, so
I don't want to move to China, but I would move to Russia.
Hey man, I looked at that ad too, and I seriously thought about it. I'm going, serious. I gave it a serious thought. And it's still not out of the back of my mind, you know. These people are proud of their leader. You know, these are proud people.
I don't know. Well,
Anyway, well,
we can't solve it tonight, so
no.
it was great having you on, though I haven't talked to you in quite some time, so I thought I'd get your feedback on all this.
I do have one question.
Uh-huh.
Flat or round?
Oh. Jerry.
What
Flat or round?
I don't Oh, the Earth. Oh, is this a global question? Huh? Is this like a flat Earth, round Earth question?
Yeah.
Oh man. Well, seeing that I got about 8 years sea time and I'm familiar with radar readings, I gotta say, and I do know a little bit about the drop of a bullet in the Coriolis effect. I gotta go completely round on this one. I'm a rounder, man. I'm a rounder.
Rounder.
Well, look, I mean, if your audience, if they hear me, you know, if I don't come across as some stuffy know-it-all with a bunch of letters, I don't have a bunch of letters behind my name. I'm not stuffy, but I do know how to read. I've been around long enough, and I can only form my own opinions, and these are most everything I've said to you are, I believe, to be factual. Most all the stories I've relayed to you are true, and what opinions I give, I believe, are sound. You know, I mean, I don't pretend to be someone I am not. So.
That's why I always like going to you, and we can just kibitz around and get it all in our mind and work it out.
Well, I try to work on a layman's term because I myself am a layman.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I once heard a doctor say, and this is one of those bolt of lightning moments. He goes, it all depends on who you're talking to that's smart. And a lot of people take it that I'm smart because I'm a doctor. And he goes, but if I want to know about soil and growing food, I wouldn't know the first thing about it, so you better start talking to a farmer.
That's right.
So, yeah, and so, again, but this was a very humble doctor. You know, it was very accomplished, but anyway. Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you too, Jerry.
I've always enjoyed talking with you. It's been enlightening.
We go round and round sometimes, Mike, for hours on the phone, but we finally get to where we started at, and we get the answers.
Right on.
It's very interesting. It was kind of like talking to Casey the other night.
Oh, that was hilarious. That was hilarious. He's got to come on sometime.
Well, he's coming on tomorrow night.
Oh, that's right. Oh, yeah. That's going to be awesome.
Yeah, and you know, we got some really good guests coming on. The 28th, we'll have Dr. Betty Martini on. She was the one who first blew the whistle on aspartame.
Is that right?
Yeah, and now she's got a place on the internet called Mission Possible World Health. I went to her site and I was totally in awe of all of the information she has put out there, including every medicine that contains, and the prescribed and the ones over the counter, it contains aspartame, what they have done to hide the word aspartame.
For sure.
Yeah, so now you pick up a product over here, and if it says natural flavor, that's aspartame.
Aspartame, yep.
Yeah, and we think because it says natural, and we buy it.
Don't put the words "we" and "think" together in a sentence, because you are really asking for.
Yeah. So anyway, we have her coming on the 28th, and then we have Jim Fetzer, who's going to really open up some eyes here about what happened in Orlando.
Oh,
his
Jimmy boy,
investigation.
he's good, man. He's
very good.
He's good.
Yeah.
He's a clever lad, Dr. Fetzer. He's a clever lad.
And then the following Tuesday, we'll bring Wolfgang Halbig on. He's going to tie together Sandy Hook and this last little episode in Orlando.
Yeah, I've been wondering what Halbig's been up to. I mean,
Well, he's
they're
going to
certainly
court
trying
again.
to close this Newtown incident up, and because it's so quiet on
Yeah.
the media, there's got to be movements on it. All right, there's
He
got
told
to
me
be
today that they filed suit. He went back to Connecticut. He stood in the trials and spent his own money to do it.
Yes.
Got it all done, filed 4 months ago, February 18. And they had 30 days to reply, and to this day they have not replied.
Oh yeah, that's a real big thing. I know he's been calling Alex Jones' show, and they
Yeah.
just won't even return his phone calls. Well, this Alex Jones, he's controlled opposition. In case
Absolutely.
people do
He's
not know.
CIA, if people can't figure it out, and he's Jesuit trained.
Well,
And if you listen to his words, he'll tell you.
Well, here's the whole point. Those brand new studios that he's got, the interest rate is being charged back to him right now. There are many things, like he's playing the San Bernardino shooting is real. He's playing the Orlando shooting is real. He's playing the Muslim. All right. He is now having to toe the line to act as government resistance. All right. So this is why this guy has a national radio program and 2 television studios, because he's been funded.
Yeah.
All
he's
right.
making
He hasn't
millions.
been doing it from selling natural erection ointment for it's whatever. Because he's been funded by the government of Israel and by the CIA.
Yeah.
He is controlled opposition. And if anyone's wondering why the talking points have changed a bit, you'll notice he never says. He always says the word globalist. You ever notice he never? It's almost like pulling teeth for him to say the word Israel.
Yep.
So
Because he's
I
Jesuit
just wanted to point out that in case no one noticed, the past couple months I monitor his show every now and I actually monitor it a lot more now that he's actually having to dance naked in the wind, because he's even getting his reporters to actually say, or some of them are going along, this is terrorist, this is terrorist, this is terrorist, when everyone else in the media is going, this is a false flag, this is a false flag, this is a false flag. So he's clearly he's dancing naked in the wind now, and people take notice of it if you haven't already.
Yep. Well, say good night, Jerry.
Oh no! Hey man, it's 1:22 out here. This means I'm about 22 minutes late for the pub.
Oh no, we gotta
They
get there.
will revoke my citizenship here in Australia. Do you understand that?
Do you have a laptop?
Sure I do.
Take us to the pub.
Yeah, let's go. We'd like to see an Australian pub.
Actually, let me tell you, the Australian pubs are only fiction now. They've infested them with the one-armed bandits, and they're not even like the one-armed bandits in Vegas. They are so much more. At least Vegas will give you sucker money. These things don't even do that. So it has totally destroyed the drinking culture. An Australian pub used to be a great place to go. People would laugh, you could put a few dollars down on the ponies, and it was social. All right?
Man, they are nothing but zombies now. People, you don't go to a pub to meet anyone anymore. And
Maybe we should do a show from the pub one night.
No, it would be sad. Oh man, it would be sad. It would be sad. And the beers are more than $5 here now at the pub. Yeah.
I have no idea what a beer is here. I have not a clue.
Well, that's a 5% strength beer, but man, you throw $5 down for a beer, and you used to be able to go to the pub and go with $20 and have a good time. Now you can't even think about it. So yeah, so that forces everyone to do the old George Thorogood, I drink alone. So
yeah, I don't know. I can't even. I'm sitting here thinking, when's the last time I ever walked in a bar? I don't remember. I'm getting old.
That's Alzheimer's. Get off the medication.
That's it. Yeah.
Get off the medication. Okay, that's the first thing. All right. Hey, cheers, people. Thank you very much for having me on. I enjoyed it very, very much.
Good. We enjoyed having you.
Yes, sir, we did.
And I will be talking to you soon about that subject I started to talk about.
Yeah,
I'm going to say it on air.
Yeah, hey, look, that's fair enough. If you can, I'm more than happy to field that, and I'm happy to do what research I can. I've got some people around the globe that'll be happy to research. But I'm sure that's scrubbed by now. I'm sure that they're doing everything.
We got to find another way. There's got to be another way to find that connection.
Look, I'm thinking it's scrubbed, and they're covering their tracks pretty hard right now.
Yeah, but
Hillary's
always make mistakes. Always.
They make tons of them. They make tons of them.
Yep.
All right. Well, hey, thanks a lot again. I really enjoyed it. People are very entertaining, and I like your platform too. It's a great platform.
Yeah,
Thank you.
It is too.
I
think we just need to get it on podcasts now, and then we'll really have.
Well, I tell you what, if one of the owners with me in my group, he's been talking about the absolute same thing. The podcast is the way to go. To be truthful.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. I think Casey told us the other night when we were talking to him that. What did they jump to? They jumped to 84,000 from what was it, Mike?
Oh gosh.
It was a low number. And they went from the low number to 84,000 just like that.
I believe that. I believe that 100%. I believe that 100%.
Yeah, so that's what we're going to work on. Somebody's asking who is Casey. Casey Davis is going to be coming on tomorrow night. He's going to be teaching us how to protect ourselves in court.
Oh, that's right. I wasn't sure what to say. We talked about so many things that night. It was great.
We did.
Oh, is this representing yourself?
He's just like you. When I get him going, it was funny because he was telling Michael, I don't know what it is about Kathy, but she always gets me to volunteer for stuff.
Is this about representing yourself in court against people who are members of the bar and represent the city of London?
Yeah.
Yep.
Rightio. That's very important.
He's done it several times, and he's won every time because he's very, very intelligent. He knows how to do it. So, but anyway, I started to say. So we were talking about. Oh no, it went out of my head. Must be bedtime.
Wake up! Wake up! It's time to take your sleeping pill.
This is what happens when you get OLDER.
Yeah, older. Well, I said one of the ladies here yesterday said, "Don't use that word old around me." I said, "Is ancient suffice?"
Senior moments.
Senior moments, yeah.
Yeah.
That's the only
All right,
thing you
hey,
can do is
hey,
laugh
Kathy.
at yourself.
Kathy,
Yep.
Mike, thank you so much for giving me a platform to rant on.
Great.
I know it's going to
Good to
make me
have
sound really foolish. I'm debating whether if I have the audacity enough to post it in my newsroom now. People hear me speak, afraid they're going to leave in droves.
Oh, no.
They're going to think, man, I thought he was smart from the news he posted. He talks like that. Holy smack and dooley. The guy sounds like he's got a still in his backyard.
This should be ready for you to post in the morning.
Okay. Yeehaw!
And once more before you go, what's the name of your Facebook page there?
The Hard Truth.
The Hard Truth. Okay.
Yep, I'll post a link of it in the chat.
Okay.
Look, that's fine, you know. So if they stumble across me, that there's no self promotion on this end. I've got plenty of people like Kathy who cruise by, and I've got plenty that are other sources that come through, and I'm just a cheap, dirty guy in the trenches. I don't care who uses my news or not, and it gets passed around, you know. So anyway, but I appreciate it, folks. It has been a dear pleasure. Thank you for having me on, and you know, I feel. I certainly hope I didn't lower your real estate value any, especially with some of the you are having on.
Oh no!
I feel like I'm that cousin from
Cousin Yet.
from the Vacation movie, you know, National Lampoon Vacation. Hey, yeah, no, just cleaning the shitter.
Good night, Charlie. Oh, boy. Don't call me after you've been to the pub, either. Okay.
Bye.
I'm going to go too, so good night, everybody, and we will see you tomorrow night.
Good night, folks. We'll see you.
Yep, bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Alrighty.